सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् आत्मानमखिलाधारम् आश्रयेभीष्टसिद्धये अर्थतोऽप्यद्वयानन्दान् अतीतद्वैतभानतः गुरूणाराध्य वेदान्त सारं वक्ष्ये यथामति। So now we are seeing the topic of Anubandha Chatushtaya, under which the Adhikari topic is being dealt with, analyzed. For Adhikari, 3 Visheshanas were given: Adhigata Akhila Vedartha, then Nitanta Nirmala Swantaha, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. Regarding Adhigata Akhila Vedartha, nothing much was said, but for Nitanta Nirmala Swantaha, the explanation was given that how a person becomes Nitanta Nirmala Swanta means having completely pure mind. How he gets it? By doing certain karma, Nitya Naimittika Prayaschitta and Upasana, and avoiding the Kamya Nishiddha. By that he becomes Nitanta Nirmala Swantaha. So under that, what all clarification required he gave. What is Kamya, Nishiddha, Nitya, Naimittika, Prayaschitta, Upasana? So all those terms were explained. Then the third adjective for Adhikari is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha, endowed with or rich in Sadhana Chatushtaya, 4-fold qualifications. And that is being explained. Sadhana Chatushtaya, Viveka, we have seen, Vairagya, then Shamadhi, Shatka Sampatti, that also we concluded. Now the next one is Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam mokshecha.
Mumukshutvam mokshecha.
Mumukshutvam, the status, tvam means the status of being mumukshu, the one who is desirous of moksha, the one who is desirous to be free. That is mumukshutvam. And simple meaning is mokshecha, the desire for moksha. Moksho me bhuyad iti tivra ichha mumuksha. In Tattva Bodha it had come. And as we have seen, Pujya Swamiji used to make a slight difference between mumukshutvam and mokshecha. Even though mokshecha is given here as the meaning of mumukshutvam, but mumukshutvam conveys the idea of a transformation in the level of a person himself. When you say mokshecha, it may be one of the desires a person has. He wants artha, he wants kama, he wants dharma, and moksha also I want. Why not? So I can have all 4 purusharthas. So person may have, let me have moksha also. And people ask also, one person in Bangalore, he asked me, Swamiji, this whole package of moksha, how much time it takes? Thank God he didn't ask how much money it will cost. So people think that moksha is one of the things. So I want family happiness, I want this enjoyments, I want moksha also. So when a person says that how much time moksha will take, and after moksha what shall I do? It means for him moksha is one of the things. And Therefore, Puja Swamiji says, Mumukshutvam, he has got little more than simple a desire for freedom. What is that? A person has undergone a change. He has got Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, and he is having this moksha alone as his priority. So, two stages are there. So, one wants moksha as his first priority. In fact, three we can make. When moksha is one of the desires, then moksha becomes the first priority. First means what? Second is there. And third is moksha is the only priority. So when we call mumukshu, what we mean is the one for whom moksha is the only priority. That person is called mumukshutvam, mumukshu, and his mental status is mumukshutvam. And this mumukshutvam will be expressed in his approach. What a person is expressed through his approach. Like a person is money minded, dhanechuhu, then what will happen? Every transaction he will evaluate in terms of how much money I got it. I went to that place, what did I get? How much money I got? And when I went there, more money came. When I went there, less money came. Therefore, the first one is better. If I relate to this person, I get more money. I relate to this person, get less money. So his life will be governed by money. In fact, do you want to explain anything? You explain in terms of money only. Like one Swamiji was asked, what is the use of temple? One businessman asked, what is the use of temple? Doesn't serve any purpose, waste. Then that Swamiji said, there are 35,100,000 temples in India, and if we take average, at least 10 people will be dependent on the temple, getting employment, getting livelihood. So 35,100,000 multiplied by 10, so 3.5 crore people are living on temple. It's very useful. And each person, employee who is earning, will have the 2-3 dependents. So you imagine 3.5 into 3. So 10.5 crore people are surviving on temple. So he will say, yes, temple is very useful. Compared to any industry in the country, we have got Reliance and all big industrialists. Compared to them also, the temple, if at all called industry, it is much more, in terms of economical contributor, big. So that person has to be talk in that language only. He will understand. Some people know, I tell them in their language. They has understood, sorry, understood. So money, in terms of money you tell, he understand. In some people that bhoga pradhana, then moksha will we say that if you eat all the types of ice cream in the world, how much happiness will be there? More than that would be the happiness. So to that person will explain in that language. Yakshanu rupa balihi. So some mami means elderly lady has come. So you talk to her in her language. Some cooking language you talk. Then she understands you. And thus, whatever a person is, it will be reflected in his approach to everything he does. That shows the center of the person, center of being they call it. What is the center of your being, center of you as a person? That will be decided by your approach in life. How you are evaluating your transaction, your relationship, that will be decided. That will decide your approach, and that approach decides that what you are considering to be the goal of life. Therefore, mumukshu, he simply says, Swamiji, I am a great mumukshu. I don't want anything other than moksha. This alone is my life. People say like this to be. But if we talk to them, we find that nowhere they are around this approach of mumukshu. Their life is not reflecting that. Life is reflecting, oh, I was doing this, I was doing that, I was busy with watching this, I was busy with talking to that. I asked them, that, what were you doing during this period which is supposed to be the gap? What were you doing? So that will not reflect mumukshutvam. So mumukshutvam, when we say, it is not that Swamiji, I cried in front of the Lord, I want moksha only. And the person thinks that's for I am mumukshu. May not be so. It is because somebody scolded you and you want to be free from samsara. And therefore you friend in front of the Lord, you cried and you think you are a great mumukshu. May not be so. So mumukshutvam means having the approach of a person who wants moksha and moksha only. And as we have seen earlier, mumukshu is the one whose approach would be anukulasya grahanam, mokshanukulasya grahanam, moksha pratikulasya tyagaha. That is called the approach of mumukshu. He will evaluate every action, every relationship, every situation in terms of moksha. That which is favorable to moksha, grahanam. However, difficult it looks, uncomfortable it looks, moksha anukulam chet, grahanam. Like some people are very health freak though. So those people you see, their approach is what? Oh, this is good for health. Okay, I will eat. Even though he doesn't like, good for health, he will eat. This is not good for health. Even though he liked it, he will drop it. That health freak people, health conscious people, you can see their approach. From morning itself they start that kashayam, this, that so many, that morning program is that only. Start with that. This juice they have to eat, this kashayam he has to eat and all. Start the day with that only. And then this much exercise, this much weight should be there, all the time conscious. Anukulasya grahanam, pratikulasya tyagaha. Then we call that person health conscious. Similarly, moksha conscious is the one who is having this approach. Mokshanukulasya grahanam, moksha pratikulasya tyagaha. That person is mumukshu and his mental status is called mumukshutvam, which is simply translated as mokshecha. And mumukshutvam comes in life because of some viveka, some vairagya, which comes by life of karma yoga. So person will have viveka. Nitya vastu viveka is there. Then going after nityam is mumukshutvam and turning away from anityam is vairagyam. That is why viveka is the basis for vairagyam and mumukshutvam. So mumukshutvam mokshecha. Alright, so with this what is called sadhana chatushtaya sampatti also completed. Now is concluding the topic by saying such a person is adhikari in the next sentence. Evam bhutah pramata adhikari shanto dantah ityadi shrutehe uktam cha prashanta chittaya jitendriyaya cha prahina doshaya yathoktakarine gunanvitaya anugataya sarvada pradeyametam satatam mumukshave. He says, evam bhutah pramata. The knower who is evam bhutah. Evam tvam praptah. Evam bhutah. Here bhuta is a praptah. Evam tva praptah evam bhutah. And evam tva praptah means what? Who is endowed with such features, qualifications as mentioned. Purvokta sakala visheshana vishishtaha. That is the meaning of evam bhutaha. Purvokta sakala visheshana vishishtaha. Evam bhutaha means pramata who is endowed with the qualifications which have been described as adhigata sakala vedarthaha, nitanta nirmala swantaha, sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha. That this three qualification one who is endowed with is called here evam bhutaha. Means such, simple is such pramata. Pramata as described in the above paragraph is adhikari, is the one who is qualified. So here you can see that gender does not matter. It was not said Purusha or Stri, even though Pullinga Shabda is used, but gender doesn't matter. Nationality doesn't matter. Brahmana Kshatriya doesn't matter. All those things, old or young, doesn't matter. Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi doesn't matter. So what matters is he should be endowed with Chitta Shuddhi and having some exposure to Vedas and Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha. Evam bhutaha pramata adhikari bhavati. And for that Shruti Pramanam is given. Shanto Dantaha. This Shantaha means endowed with Shamaha, having the mastery over the mind. Dantaha means having Damaha, having the mastery over the organs. This is incomplete sentence. Complete will be Uparatas titikshu samahito bhutva atmani eva atmanam pashyati ityadi shrutehe. From this Shruti also we get this idea. Shanto Danta already given. Uparataha, we have seen a person who is maintaining the withdrawal of the internal and external organs. Uparataha. So Uparati, as you said, is true that the Uparati and Uparamanam both are from Brahm. Uparati is Triyam Tin. Okay. So Uparataha. So one who maintains the withdrawal of external and internal organs. Titikshuhu, having this accommodation, objective acceptance, one who is endowed with objective acceptance of all pairs of opposite. Samahitaha, having concentration. Bhutva, having become such. Shanto Danta Uparataha Titikshu Samahitaha Bhutva, having become such qualified person. Atmani eva Atmanam Pashyati. He appreciates Atma, the self. Atmani eva. Here first Atmani eva will have the meaning mind. In the mind he appreciates Atma. So this is Brihadaranyaka Vakya. Alright. Then he is quoting this Upadesha Sahasri. Upadesha Sahasri is a work of Shankaracharya ji having thousands of teaching. Upadesha teaching, Sahasri means 1000. So the text which has got 1000 teachings is called Upadesha Sahasri. Alright. 1000 is his Upalakshana. It's not really exactly 1000 shlokas or 1000 teaching is not the idea. It means lot of teachings. Upadesha Sahasri. In that it is said, Etat means this self-knowledge which has been described earlier. Pradeyam should be given satatam, regularly. To whom? Mumukshave, to the one who is desirous. So this is given in support of who is adhikari. So this knowledge is to be given by the teacher satatam, regularly, mumukshave, to the person who is mumukshu, desirous of moksha. Pradeyam means should be given. This self-knowledge should be given. We have to supply what? Guruna. Guruna pradeyam. Alright. And other words are used to qualify this mumukshu. Who is that? Prashanta chittaya. A person whose mind is quiet. Prashanta. And is this indicate shama? Shama. Then jitendriyaya. Jitani indriyani yena saha jitendriyaha. The one by whom the organs are mastered. Dhamma is suggested. Prahina doshaya. One whose dosha in the form of ragadveshas are prahina, destroyed. A person whose ragadveshas are neutralized. Yathokta karine. One who is following the instruction of Shastra. Obedient means one who is following the instruction of Shastra. He doesn't say, I don't care for all this, If you want to teach me, teach, I will do what I want. That is not a qualified person. Yathokta karina. Yathoktam karoti iti yathokta kari. So one who does what is instructed by Shastra and Guru. Gunanvitaya, endowed with the qualities. Qualities can be taken as amanitvam, adambitvam, or abhayam, sattva, samshuddhi, devi sampat. Gunanvitaya, endowed with virtues. And anugataya sarvada, and one who is mentally following the teacher. Means one whose mind is tuned with the teacher. One who is ready to follow the instruction of the teacher. Earlier Yathokta Karine refers to the Shastra instruction. Here Anugataya means one who is following the teacher. Means mentally he is there with the teacher. Some people have this habit, when teacher is teaching, they will be reading something else. They are reading translation. They are reading something else. They are seeing something else. That is not called Anugata. Anugata means the mind is following the words of the teacher. One who is tuned with the teacher. So teacher doesn't have to explain much. He says, this is worth doing. That is good enough. He need not be told, this is worth doing, therefore you should do it from tomorrow. Then it is not Anugata. Ingitena cheshtitena. If he looks at this and a student understands that yes, there is something to be done. That is called Anugata. Means the student is eager to know what the teacher wants. Oh, I don't care. We have business of studying with him. So 1 hour relationship. That doesn't work. Initially it is okay. But when you really want to attain from the teacher, then physically and mentally you have to tune with the teacher. And it is not that easy. To tune with the teacher, you have to keep your ragadveshas aside. If you are busy with your own plan, then if teacher gives instruction, it will go overhead. Why? Because you have your own plan. So the one who doesn't have any other plan, I want to follow what teacher wants to say, that person is Anugata. Means there is a mental surrender to the teacher. Simply saying I surrender, that many people say that. Really I want to exactly follow what the teacher wants to say. It is not that easy. Our individuality, our ego, our ragadveshas will not allow it to happen so easily. And of course for that teacher also should be proper. He should invoke that surrender in the person, in the student. Nowadays it is very difficult. Students also have got their own agenda for the teacher, and the teacher also may have agenda for the students. Therefore, that type of relationship doesn't strike. But if it strikes, it's a big blessing. Where the student has so much respect for the teacher, in also that the trust in the teacher, that the whatever teacher says, it will be for my good. Let me find out how it is good. If I am not able to find out, I can go and ask, nothing wrong. Trust and questioning, they are not opposite. I can have trust, still I can ask for clarification. How you are right, but I would like to know. So that is Anugata, and it takes a lot of time, because we have to keep our individuality aside. But if it happens, it's such a wonderful thing, One can be very relaxed. It is something like when you are in an aeroplane and you trust the pilot, you can be relaxed. Imagine you have got this concern that maybe pilot is sleeping, and possible also, they sleep also. But you don't think about it. If you think about it, you can't sleep. With the thought of pilot sleeping, you can't sleep. But you sleep, Train you travel, you sleep. You have trust. So similar trust can happen, and in the trust and surrender, there is relaxation. And when there is relaxation, then absorption of the teaching is much more. Every time the student has, he might have told wrongly, he might have not seen properly, he might not have prepared. It's like some teachers say, students used to feel, I think today Swamiji repeated, so I think he might not have got time to study. Like that they used to tell. What a mind. Even if it is so, it is not proper for the student to think like this. It is not my business, Whatever whatever is required, whatever is my prarabdha, as per that I will be given the teaching. And as one Swamiji told very nicely to his student, he told that I may be wrong in guiding you, but Dakshinamurti will not let you down. You trust Bhagavan, and therefore whatever happens through me is done by the Lord, and therefore you will not be let down. So if that trust is there, then Anugata. This Anugata is a very, very rare thing to happen. But if it happens, it's such a wonderful thing. So Anugataya Sarvada. Sarvada also is important. So whenever Guru Purnima is coming near, so you say, I should be devoted to Guru. So an hour after Guru Purnima, listening to greatness of Guru for 1 week remains. So 1 week before Guru Purnima, 1 week after Guru Purnima, Anugataha. And afterwards that power goes away. So slowly it becomes diluted. But it is very tuning with the teacher is a very big important thing. Okay, Sarvada. To that Mumukshu Etat Pradeyam. Etat Atmagdanam Pradeyam Guruna should be given. In fact, as it instruction is given to the teacher, should be given. In fact, it would be given. Alright. So all these words are paraphrasing of what has been told in the earlier description. Therefore, it is quoted here in this context. Alright. So now with this, the topic of Adhikari is concluded. Evam bhutaha pramata adhikari. Alright. Then next one is Vishayaha. Vishayaha Jiva Brahmaikyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Prameyam Tatra Eva Vedantanam Tatparyat. Okay, the next Anubandha Chatushtaya. We should not get confused between Anubandha Chatushtaya and Sadhana Chatushtaya. They are different. Okay. Vishayaha is Anubandha Chatushtaya. Second, Anubandha. What is the Vishayaha? Jiva Brahmaikyam, oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma. Here Brahma is in the sense of Ishvara, so Jiva Brahmaikyam, oneness between Jiva and Jivatma and Paramatma. And even though it is said oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma, still people may think that Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam is in the sense of this union, Jivatma merging into Paramatma. That is the whole subject matter of Vedanta. That type of doubt may come. So here Tikakara says, Swarupataha bhinnayoho api Mishri bhavaha. They're merging into each other. That is the meaning of Aikyam, somebody may conclude. So Jivatma merging into Paramatma, that is the content of, that is the subject matter of Vedanta. Aikyam, let us become one. People say that, let us become one. Means what? Let us form a union. So that type of idea may come, and therefore clarification is done, Shuddha Chaitanyam. This oneness between Jiva and Brahma is in the form of pure consciousness, free from attributes of Sarvagnatvam and Alpagnatvam. So oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma is not in the form of union between the two. One becoming, this Jivatma becoming one with Paramatma, or Paramatma becoming one with Jivatma. It is not in the form of becoming one. It is in the form of discovery of consciousness, which is pure, which is free from any attributes of omniscience and small knowing. All knowing and small knowing are not there in which consciousness? That consciousness I am. So that is called oneness. So oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma is in the form of discovery of one consciousness which is free from all types of attributes which seem to create the difference between Jiva and Paramatma. Therefore Shuddha Chaitanyam, pure consciousness. To dismiss the idea of this union between merging of Jivatma into Paramatma, so that idea is dismissed by saying Shuddha Chaitanyam. That is why sometimes Mahavakya we defined as Akhandartha Bodhakam Vakyam. One definition of Mahavakya is Jiva Brahma Aikya Bodhakam Vakyam, but that may create still confusion of union. That idea may come, possibility is there. Therefore we say what? Akhandartha Bodhakam Vakyam Mahavakyam. Mahavakyam is a sentence which is revealing the reality, Artha means a reality which is free from any division. So Jivatma and Paramatma, that Bheda is not there in which reality? That is called Akhandartha. So the sentence revealing one indivisible reality behind the Jiva and Ishvara is called Mahavakyam. And that idea is conveyed by the word Shuddha Chaitanyam. In here Tikakara says Chaitanyasya Shuddhatvam Kim? Shuddha Chaitanyam is a Visheshana. Chaitanyasya Shuddhatvam Nama Sarva Dharmatitatvam Ekarasatvam. So pure consciousness means the consciousness which is Sarva Dharmatitaha, beyond all these attributes of small knowing and all knowing, small power and big power, and the Srashtrutvam and Srishtatvam, that type of attributes are not there. Sarva dharma titatvam shuddhatvam. And also what? Ekarasatvam, being homogeneous, not having any internal division, that somewhere it is more, somewhere it is less. So consciousness is ekarasa. Ekarasa means homogeneous. So it is not that in Ishvara consciousness is more, in Jiva it is less. There is no such thing. Consciousness is homogeneous without having any internal difference. And understanding this reality, that is understanding the subject matter of Vedanta. So subject matter of Vedanta is pure consciousness, indivisible consciousness, which is the reality behind the Jiva and Paramatma. That idea is conveyed by the word Shuddha Chaitanyam. Alright, so Jiva Brahma Aikya is in terms of pure consciousness, free from any division, free from any attributes which seem to create the division. Alright. Then somebody may say that this consciousness is defined as what? That which is self-effulgent, swaprakashatvam. So consciousness is self-evident. If it is self-evident, why should it be the subject matter of Vedanta? Because we have seen, what can be the subject matter of Vedanta? That which is abadita anadhigata. Abadita anadhigata eva shastrasya vishaya bhavitum arhati. How come this Shuddha Chaitanyam, consciousness, becoming the subject matter? Because consciousness is always evident. You are also telling consciousness is something which is self-evident. How can it become the subject matter of Vedanta? That particular question is answered prameyam, that which is to be understood. Prameyatvam indicates the agnatatvam. So this consciousness is evident as I am, but it is not evident as I am limitless Brahma. Therefore, it is agnanavrutam. It is covered by ignorance, as it were. Not only covered, there are so many misconceptions about this consciousness, and that needs to be removed by understanding that this consciousness is not limited by the body, mind, sense complex. It is the truth of everything, and therefore it is prameyam. Prameyam is that which is to be understood. Prameya shabdena chaitanyasya agnatatvam suchitam. That is agnatam. It is not known in its true nature. It is evident, but still it is not known completely in its true nature. Therefore it needs to be understood with the help of Shastra. That idea is conveyed by the word prameyam. Prameyam is to be known. In 13th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Neyam yattat pravakshyami. That which is worth knowing, which is to be known by a sadhaka. Mumukshuna gneyam. That gneyam is called here prameyam. Some places we see that consciousness or Brahman is called aprameyam. So there, when word aprameyam is used, we understand what? It is not to be understood as an object. That idea is conveyed by the word aprameyam. And when it is said prameyam, it means it is worth understanding in its true nature, free from any misconception. So about this Chaitanyam, there is a funny situation. It is known also and it is not known also. It is evident as I am, but it is not understood as I am Brahma. And therefore it is prameyam. So that prameyam, because prameyam alone can become Vishaya. Agnatatve agnatam sat eva artha vishaya bhavati. If something is unknown, then only it becomes the subject matter of pramanam, subject matter of any shastra. If something is very evident, the sun is rising, the sun is bright. Agnir himasya bheshajam. Agni is the remedy for cold. So that cannot become the subject matter of the shastra. For something to become the subject matter of shastra, it has to be what? Ajnatam. So Brahma, Ajnatam Sat Vishaya Bhavati. Jnatam Sat Prayojanam Bhavati. That's how we talk about. Ajnatam Sat Vishayaha Prameyam Bhavati. Which is Prameya, and that Prameya Rupa Shuddha Chaitanyam. The pure consciousness which is to be understood as limitless Brahman is the Vishaya. Alright. How do you say that Jiva Brahma Aikya Shuddha Chaitanyam is the Vishaya? For that reason is given. Tatra eva. In that alone. Jiva Brahma Aikya Shuddha Chaitanya Akhanda Chaitanya eva. In oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, which is divisionless consciousness, in that alone Vedantanam Tatparyat. There is purport, there is commitment, convergence of all the Vedantas. So all the Vedantas have got their Tatparyam, their purport, their commitment in revealing this Jiva Brahma Aikya. Therefore Jiva Brahma Aikya is Vishayaha. Of what? Vedantanam. You remember we are talking about Anubandha Chatushtaya of what? Vedanta. Not Vedanta Sara. Tatra is there, no? Tatra Vedanta Shastre. So Vedantasya Anubandha Chatushtaya eva Vedanta Sarasya Bhavati. But we are describing here what? Technically, we are describing Anubandha Chatushtaya of Vedanta. So, Tatra eva Vedanta nam Tatparyat. Tatra means what? Jiva Brahma Aikya Shuddha Chaitanya eva Vedanta nam Tatparyat. Jiva Brahma Aikyam Shuddha Chaitanyam eva Vishayaha. And Tatparyam Katham Nirniyate? Tatparyam purport is ascertained by Shadlingi. So, Tatra eva, in this oneness alone, the Tatparyam of Vedanta is ascertained with the help of Shadlinga. Upakramo upasamharo, abhyaso purvata phalam, arthavado upapatti cha, lingam tatparya nirnaya. So, that alone is the subject matter, prameya of Vedanta. Yat paraha shabdaha sa shabdarthaha. So to whatever idea the words are committed, that alone is the meaning, the subject matter of words. The Shastra has got the Tatparyam in the Jiva Brahma Aikya, therefore the Vishaya, the subject matter of Shastra is Jiva Brahma Aikya. And by saying this Tatreva Vedantanam Tatparyat, what is suggested is, even though in Vedanta so many topics are discussed, the topics of Srishti is discussed, topics of Panchakosha Viveka, Shariratraya Viveka is discussed, Avastha are described, Avastha Viveka is described. But all of them are having their commitment, all of them are finally meant for what? Jiva Brahma Aikya. Therefore Jiva Brahma Aikya is Vishaya. Maya also is talked about. In Shastra, Maya is talked about. Mayam tu prakritim viddhi, mayinam tu maheshwaraha. So eva Maya parimohitatma. Maya also is talked about. But still, Vedanta is not Maya Vadi. Or Vedanti, Shankaracharya is not Maya Vadi. Why? Because Tatparyena Mayam na nirupayati. Therefore, Tatparya becomes important in deciding what is the subject matter, main subject matter of Vedanta. And since in Jiva Brahma Aikya or Shuddha Chaitanya, limitless consciousness, in that alone Vedantas have got Tatparya, therefore tadeva Vishaya. Alright, so Vishaya is Jiva Brahma Aikya Shuddha Chaitanyam. In simple words, the subject matter is the self which is to be discovered as limitless. So limitless, divisionless self is the subject matter of Shastra, Vedanta. Either way we can say limitless Brahman which is to be discovered as the self, or the self which is to be discovered as limitless Brahman is the subject matter of Vedanta. Vishayaha. Alright. So Adhikari Rupa Anubandha was completed. Vishayaha Rupa Anubandha is completed. Now Sambandha. Sambandha tu Tadaikya Prameyasya Tat Pratipadako Upanishad Pramanasya Cha Pramanasya Cha idhar na Tat Pratipadako Upanishad Pramanasya Cha Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha Tu, whereas Sambandha, the connection. Sambandha is one of the Anubandha. Sambandha is, the connection is Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha. The Sambandha is always between the two. And what type of relationship is there? Bodhya Bodhakatva. Bodhya being. Bodhya Bodhaka means being Bodhya, revealed. Bodhaka, revealer. So the connection between the subject matter and the text is Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha. The connection is in the form of one being the Bodhya to be revealed and the other being Bodhaka, revealer. Revealer to be revealed Sambandha. Or simple words, revealer, revealed connection. Revealer, revealed status is the connection. So Tadaik Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha Sambandha. Acha. So the connection is given between the subject matter and the Upanishad Pramana, Vedanta. Upanishad Pramana is another word for Vedanta. Vedanto Nama Upanishad Pramanam. So Vedantasya Tad Vishayasya Cha Sambandha Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha. And what is Vishaya? Tadaikya Prameyasya. Tadaikya Prameya means what? Jiva Brahma Aikya Rupa Prameya. Oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, which is Prameya, which is to be understood. That is Vishaya. So between the Vishaya and Upanishad Pramana, Vedanta, Grantha, Upanishad, which is the means of knowledge. So the relationship between the subject matter, which is in the form of oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, which is to be understood between that Vishaya and Upanishad Pramana, Vedanta. What type of Upanishad Pramana it is? Tat Pratipadaka. Pratipadaka means revealer, presenter, one which presents. Pratipadayati iti Pratipadaka. Tat refers to what? Tadaikya Prameya. So the relationship between oneness between Jiva and Ishvara and Upanishad Pramana, Vedanta, which is revealing this oneness between these two, between the Grantha, Vedanta and the subject matter, the sambandh is Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha. They have got the connection of being Bodhya to be revealed and Bodhaka, revealer. As opposed to this Vedanta and its subject matter, in Karma Kanda, the relationship is what? Chodya Chodaka or Nodya Nodaka Sambandha. Nodaka means their motivator, and Nodya, this karma, is something to be motivated into. So karma, which is the subject matter, And Karma Kanda, which is the revealer of Karma, that Sambandha is what? The Nodya Nodaka, the motivator and the object of motivation. That is based on the Mimamsaka. In fact, Vedanti, at some stage he will say, Dattara api bodhya bodhaka eva. In Brahma Sutra we have seen that our Praudhivadena we have dismissed that even between in Karma Kanda, the finally Sambandha is what? The bodhya bodhaka only. The Karma Kanda is simply reveals. But since they have told bodhya, Nodya Nodaka, they accept that Veda is the motivator and the karma is something one is motivated into. So based on that we show the difference. So in Karma Kanda, this Shastra is the motivator and karma is something motivated into. Whereas in Vedanta, person is not motivated into any action. The core Vedanta does not motivate the person into anything. Yeah, peripheral topics he will say, you go to the Guru, have Samadhamadi, all this will be there. But core Vedanta, which is revealing the oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, doesn't ask you to do anything. He doesn't say that you are one with Ishvara, therefore you do this. There is no such thing. You are Brahman, you are limitless, that's it. In fact, if you have understood, then very expectancy of doing anything goes away. Nanamrutena truptasya kritakrityasya yoginaha naivasti kinchit kartavyam asti chet nasa tattvavyam. If a person has understood the message of Vedanta and assimilated well, he or she will not ask this question, now what? Now what, Swamiji, I should do? I have already understood Vedanta. I have understood I am Brahman. I am very clear. I am very convinced. I see it like a day and night. I see it very clearly like daylight. If a person says that and then asks the question, what? Now what should I do? And very personally he comes and asks it, very seriously. Swamiji, I want to ask you very personally this question. When nobody is around. Or even he is calling, he says, Swamiji, is there anybody around? So no, then we will ask this question. Swamiji, I have understood, but I don't know now what is to be done. That question doesn't remain. Because what should I do? That question comes when I look upon myself as Karta. I look upon myself as someone who needs to do something. Means who has got some lacuna. Then only question will come. And if that is there, I look upon myself as a Karta or I have some lacuna, then I have not understood I am Brahman. I know I am Brahman and tell me what should I do. They are contradictory. And unfortunately a person does not see the contradiction, therefore he asks the question. And to such people what do we say? You just enjoy the vision. You don't have to do anything. You just remain, keep appreciating I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. And for appreciating this, you have so many scriptures, you just be with that. Or if somebody is there to learn from you, you learn, you teach. But Swamiji, nobody comes to learn from me. That's why I am so depressed. Means you have not understood I am Brahman. The real teacher is the one who doesn't have the need to teach. Then only he is really Brahmanistha. One who does not have the need to teach. He is ready to teach, but he doesn't have need to teach. He doesn't feel depressed about it. Oh, see, my students are now attending to this new Swamiji and all are going there one by one. So I will be left with nobody. What shall... If this is there, then the vision is not assimilated. You might have taught so many students, but insecurity comes about the students going away, then it means the vision is not assimilated. This Vedanta teachers, especially in this modern time, this teaching Vedanta has become one particular occupation. I was reading one book in that. He said this a new generation is coming up where teaching is one job. So means like people are manager, people are engineer, doctor, and they are doing the service. Similarly, what are you doing? I am a teacher. In fact, I have a really problem in writing that is what is your profession. So if they will write engineer, doctor and all this, I cannot write. Then fortunately one column is that other. So I say other. Because really this is not teaching. I don't look upon as my job, profession. But if still they have teacher column, I may write because that's what they will understand. But if teaching is seen as my means for livelihood, then this understanding is not assimilated. Unfortunately, we also we encourage because at least this person will remain in the field of Vedanta even though it helps him to earn livelihood and all this, okay. That's why so much insecurity is there. Swamiji, I cannot be out of this place for a long time because students will go away. When in Bangalore I used to go out, people used to say this, that students will go away. Swamiji, 3 months you are going out, 2 months you are going out. I said, if they want to come back, they will come back. If they go away means they really did not have commitment. So it's okay, they will be learning from other teachers, that's good. If I have insecurity about maintaining the students, that something is wrong. So the teacher will not have insecurity of having the students. Then only he is Brahmagnani. And therefore, after Brahmagnanam, there is no pressure of teaching. And after Brahmagnanam, no such question, what should I do? What should I do is an expression of samsari. What should I do? Yeah, prarabdha vashat, whatever happens, he lets it happen. If the proposal for teaching comes, he teaches. And if the program is cancelled, cancel. Oh, not teaching. No, not teaching. That students did not come, they are busy with something, all right. Therefore, this Brahmagnanam is unlike this Karma Kanda, where this nothing remains to be done. Brahmagnanam is revealed as a fact about myself being limitless. And therefore, this Sambandha, we generally take it, what is Sambandha, Bodhya, Bodhaka, what else Sambandha can be there? But in Sambandha, this idea is conveyed. That Vedanta is revealing the fact about myself being limitless. And nothing remains to be done. That freedom, I have freedom from the compulsion to do anything. Therefore, it's a good exercise when you can just remain yourself. Just I am, I just am. I don't have to do something to be. I don't have to do something to exist. I am. I just am. When you can remain just without having any pressure to do anything, dependence upon anything to do, then you have owned up your freedom. Not out of laziness. I can do, but I discover that I need not do. I can, but I need not. Simply I need not because anyway I can't. That's not freedom. I can, upadhi is available, but I need not. And yes, sometimes I cannot also, and fortunately I need not also. That also is okay. But if something you cannot do but you have need to do, that is not freedom. That is helplessness. So Vedanta reveals the fact about myself being limitless. It's a very simple thing. In a way, it is a very simple thing. So, what is that? You are limitless Brahman. That's all. But such a small thing is not assimilated. People say, Swamiji, my memory is not good. Swamiji, can I study Vedanta? Really speaking, in Vedanta, essentially nothing much to be remembered. You understand? And the essence is this much only. I am limitless Brahman. I alone am. I am Purnaha. Hey, this is not a very big thing. You remember so many things. So this much at least you can, it will remain. In fact, once you have understood well, you don't have to remember. And that is suggested by Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha Sambandhaha. Prayojanam, we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.